everyone, welcome back. So this is the experiment for interference at an air wedge. So this will be the setup. You're going to place the air wedge in this box, which has a plain glass plate below and another plain glass plate above, angled at 45 degrees, which is the same as the Newton's experiment. And you're going to place a microscope so that you can clearly observe the interference pattern formed at the air wedge, and in such a way that the vertical crosswire is going to be parallel to the pattern that is formed. So in that way you can move the microscope horizontally and take readings for as many as the patterns that you want to see in the experiment. A demonstration of interference by division of amplitude is being done, and it's a classical physics experiment that's used to measure the thickness of thin films or films created by placing a wire in between two glass plates. So the basic principle behind this experiment is closely related to the study of thin film interference, which was pioneered by early scientists who were studying wave nature of light, including Sir Isaac Newton. So historically, the air wedge setup has been used as an interferometer, which measures the interferometer is a system that creates an interference pattern. So it's used to measure the thickness of sheets, wires, or films, and to test the plainness of glass surfaces. So the principle that involves the path difference created by increasing thickness of the air wedge is being used here. So we'll go into detail. So firstly, what is an air wedge? So air wedge is a construction that involves two optically flat glass plates. So you might remember slides from a biolab, that kind of glass plate, which are placed together, which touch at one edge and are separated by a thin, extremely thin object, like a fine wire or strip of paper on the opposite edge. So this creates a wedge shape in between the two plates, and the wedge shape is basically an air film of varying thickness. So it's the smallest on the side where the two plates touch, and largest on the side where the wire or paper is placed. So one end of the glass plates is held tightly together using threads or rubber bands or even tape, and then the thin wire is placed on the other end parallel to this edge, and this forms the wedge. Moving on to the principle, like I've already said, the air wedge interference experiment has a history that's rooted in the study of thin films and thin objects. So it utilizes the interference property of the wave nature of light. So when the light waves reflected between the two ends of a glass plate placed at a small angle, it creates a thin wedge shaped air film, and the arrangement produces alternating bright and dark fringes, the usual interference pattern. So it's due to constructive and destructive interference between the light that's reflected from the top surface and bottom surface of the wedge. So from the diagram you can see that an air wedge is placed under a traveling microscope's eyepiece, and between these two there's a glass plate above the air wedge, that is, and the glass plate is inclined at 45 degrees over the thin wire. So you might remember from the Newton's rings experiment that a similar glass plate was used. So the reason, like I said, was when you have a parallel plane beam of light coming towards the setup, you need to direct it normally to the air wedge in this case. So for that to happen, you need to make it incident on this 45-degree inclined glass plate so that the light passes or reflects and refracts at the same angle and goes and hits the air wedge normally. So because of this, you'll be able to observe the pattern. So then monochromatic light from a sodium vapor lamp creates the pattern due to the reflection between the two plates, and the fringes are observed using the eyepiece of the traveling microscope. Also, the length L over here is the distance between points A and B. So it's the distance between the sealed end and the end and up to the point where the wire inside the wedge is found. So that's the formula used in this experiment is really simple. So the diameter of the wire that's placed in the wedge, small d, is calculated using the formula d is equal to lambda L by 2 beta. So here lambda is the wavelength of the sodium vapor lamp, which is 5892 angstroms. That will be given to you. And L is the length of the air wedge that I just mentioned, and the mean fringe width is given by beta in this formula. So the formula is d equals lambda L by 2 beta, and the setup basically helps us determine the wire's diameter. So that's the aim of this experiment. To find the least count of the traveling microscope, you can see that there are 20 main scale divisions in 1 mm. Sorry, 1 centimeter. And so one main scale division will be 1 by 20, which is 0.05 centimeters. And then you have 50 vernier scale divisions, as you can see. This is the vernier scale. So the least count will be 0.05, which is the value of 1 MSD, divided by total number of vernier scale divisions, which is 50, which gives 0.001 centimeter or 0.1 mm. Moving on to the procedure, it's really simple. So you have an air wedge and you set it up as I said, and adjust the microscope so that you can bring the interference pattern into sharp focus. So the pattern has equidistant fringes that are parallel to the line of intersection of the plane glass plates. So the fringes should be adjusted so that they're parallel to the vertical crosswire. Then the crosswire is focused on any one of the dark fringes. So that will be your nth fringe. Then you take down the reading of the microscope and then move the crosswire to coincide with n plus 5th, n plus 10th. So for every 5 lines moving either left or right, whichever way your microscope is kept. So moving towards any one direction, note the reading for every 5th fringe in the pattern for 25 such fringes. So n plus 5, n plus 10 and so on up to n plus 45th fringe. So that gives you some 10 readings. So once you note down the readings, the mean width of 25 fringes can be calculated by the method of differences. So when you have n on one end and n plus 25 on one end, as you can see in the table, the width of 25 fringes will be given by difference. So 3.76 minus 3.45, as you can see in the table. So the width of 25 fringes is approximately 0.31 centimeters in this case. So similarly, you will do it for the next 5 sets of readings and find the mean value for width of 25 fringes. That will be your value of x. So using this, you can find the fringe width beta, which is width of 25 fringes divided by 25. That will give you a width of one fringe, right? So beta is equal to x by 25. So in that way, you can find fringe width beta, and length of the air wedge you can easily calculate using a scale. So that's the observation and calculation for this experiment. Now for plotting the graph, you have to plot on the x-axis the order of the fringe. So you start from the nth fringe and go up to n plus 45th fringe. So the same thing that you noted down for the readings. And on the y-axis, you will plot the total reading or the position of each of these fringes. So the graph, depending on which side of the wedge you start measuring from, will either have a decreasing or increasing slope. That doesn't matter. So when you plot it, you'll expect a straight line graph, and the slope of this graph will give you beta, or the fringe width again. So it will be total reading divided by number of order of the fringe. So for the result, you'll have to find the value of the diameter by calculation and then by graph. So by calculation, it's really simple. You found the fringe width beta by dividing the mean value of x by 25. So that will be beta, and substitute that in the formula for small d. So d equals lambda L by 2 beta. You have all of the values. Just plug them all in and find the manual diameter. And similarly, by graph, the slope of the graph was basically your fringe width beta. So just do lambda L by 2 into slope instead of 2 into beta, and you will find another value for small d. So that's the result.